how much pressure do you think there is on Ange to win a treble? It's become sort of trebles are weird because they were very, very, very rare.
Not a thing before
and then
recently.
they became increasingly rare. Not increasingly rare, increasingly common. In fact, we won 4 back to back.
Ridiculous.
Which is more difficult than winning 10 in a row. I'm convinced of it. Easily, right? It's more difficult than doing anything anyone else has ever done in Scotland.
Because the very nature of cup competitions is you could be put out at any time. You could turn up to some game against like a
Clyde.
There you go. I was going to say, lower league opposition, or even somebody who isn't in form in your league. You could draw
St Mirren, Ross County.
You could draw any of these teams and be eliminated. So the fact that didn't happen to Celtic once in 4 goes of 8 separate cup runs is absolutely ridiculous.
So I mean, managers that won treble. So we're talking about Jock Stein, Martin O'Neill, Brendan Rodgers, Neil Lennon.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Yeah. All the greats.
Well, you can't take it away from him. He did win it. So I'm talking about Neil Lennon, obviously. I'm not talking about Jock Stein. He's trying to take Jock Stein's treble off him. I'll talk about Neil Lennon.
Forget the haters, Jock.
It's not true.
We believe in you.
A little known manager named Jock Stein. Does Ange need to win a treble, Melly?
I don't think so, but look, the guy is ambitious. He'll want to go and do it. He'll want to win as many trophies as possible. Well,
I suppose not. Okay, let me reframe it, because does he need to win a treble is a bit unfair. Is there more pressure on Ange today to win a treble than there would have been normally?
Possibly, because they have sort of become the norm, and it was just like, we won trebles. That was us.
Because we can't go from winning trebles to just not winning them anymore. That's football fans don't accept that.
No, and the way Scottish football is, European football, with a season where we don't have any after Christmas, it's going to be, the pressures are going to be on to win the cups, and we're in a final of one. We could have got a chance to get to the quarters of another. And last season, Celtic started in the Scottish Cup semi-final, but that was 1 game. So Celtic were 1 game away from potentially going for another treble last year with all the upheaval. This season, because we've been so consistent, you're just looking at it going, right, we've got a cup final to come, and we should be in a semi or in a final of the Scottish Cup, all going well. So there's pressure on, but that comes with being the Celtic manager, and I don't think Ange would want it any other way. Me as a fan, I wouldn't want it any other way, because for Celtic to be successful, they have to go out and win games, and that's exactly what we're doing. If we don't win a treble, it's because we'll have had a bad game, and that's why they're difficult to win. Yet we just feel like it's a kind of norm now to win it because of the consistency.
I mean, is that the benchmark for a Celtic manager now?
Oh, it is, yeah. I mean, I was going to say that it is ludicrous that we talk about trebles in these terms. Not that they're an ambition or they're a target for a club, but that there might be pressure on a manager to win a treble.
If you can't live up to the pressure that Neil Lennon sets.
That's the point. The reason it is even a thing, and there would be pressure on a manager to deliver a treble, is because of history. Even if it's recent history, you set your own standards at the end of the day, and the history of the country dictates what the standards are for clubs. The only reason we fell into that absolutely destructive 10 in a row hysteria is because it was 9 in a row, and that was done twice, and then Celtic did it, then Rangers did it back in the day before they died. And then we wanted to better that. Nobody else is doing that. No other countries are talking about 10 in a row and all that kind of stuff. And I bet we're the only country, only kind of major footballing countries at a stretch, right? I'm doing well for us here. I'm being generous to Scotland, but I bet we're the only kind of European country who puts pressure on managers to deliver a treble. I mean, of course, it's a great thing, and they do it in other countries, but it's like a once in a...
Yeah, because nobody sees Pep winning, I bet didn't he win the treble?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he's allowed
exactly
to be a good manager in his own right. But I think the thing about Ange is he is ambitious, obviously, as Melly says, he's ambitious. But we've kind of discussed this. I can't remember if it was a Patreon episode of this podcast, but you know, if Ange's got ambitions beyond Celtic, you really need to excel in Scotland. It's not just good enough just to win the league. Ronnie Dyler won the double, never really got linked with any big jobs. Neil Lennon won leagues here in the treble, never really. Brendan Rodgers won almost everything there is to win. He ended up with a Leicester. So if your ambitions lie beyond Celtic, in many ways, people, not just Celtic fans, but seemingly, or previous history shows, the footballing community expect you to really excel in Scotland. It's not good enough just to be a winning manager in Scotland. You need to do something special. You need to excel. Yeah,
and it's almost like trebles have now become kind of context free because it's been so frequent over the last few years. It's almost become like it's it's again absurd to talk in these terms, but it's almost become like, oh, we won a treble in Scotland, big deal.
Yeah.
Shrug, as if we just basically do it all the time. And the only reason that people think that is because Celtic made it look easy for 4 years. It's not easy. It's far from easy. So yes, it should always be a target and an ambition of the club. Just I find it so odd, even just thinking about it, to say that a manager needs to deliver a treble. It's such an odd thing to say, just in football terms.
I think to do it, we need to be, I know this sounds absurd, right? And people sometimes don't want to hear it, but I think to win the treble this year, we need to be right on it. I think we need to be right on it. And I think if we play at the top of our game, I think Celtic are unstoppable. But I think we need to be right on it if we want to achieve it this year. And I'm not so much talking about the St Mirren game, although I might have just jinxed it by bringing that up. But the League Cup final in a couple of weeks, I mean, that's their only chance really to do anything this season. That's their biggest game of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because no matter what we think of Michael Beale, Rangers have...
Putrid little man.
Yes, all of that.
Oily little piglet.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, him and he's inherited the gap. Oh, you didn't inherit the goal difference you've got right now.
He's increased the
Michael.
gap, hasn't he? He has increased the gap, yeah.
So he could have done something about that. He could score a few more goals and let in a few less, but... Those games, it's going to come down to these games. In all likelihood, it will be Rangers that stand in Celtic's way. They are in the Cup final, and with the Scottish Cup, if both go through, you'd expected meet at some point. So Celtic are going to need to be on their game, and I think that's what we need. We need this competition because it can get to a point if Celtic were to piss to a treble this season. Do some of the players, do Ange think, I've done it all here. It's
always a risk, yeah.
So
you mean it's better for us as fans if he doesn't win one because we get to keep Ange a wee bit longer?
Well, there always has to be targets, doesn't there? Brendan Rodgers said he felt he could take the club as far. He took the club as far as he could go. We'd argue like he walked out during the season and he didn't really do much in Europe. So there's always the Europe thing. But if we can win trebles, then brilliant. But I think we want to win the treble for Ange as well because we want him to be put up there with those legendary guys and Neil Lennon. So that's just for you. So I think
how do you get in there?
You leave Neil alone.
So I think we all want Ange to win one because we want him to be regarded like that. Because yes, to get a bigger job or to pull up trees in Scotland, you need a treble, but
I never hear that phrase pull up trees on any other podcast apart from ours. But incidentally,
copyright it. But I think
I smell a t-shirt.
Ange pulling up trees. I think you need a brand of football as well, and Ange's got that, doesn't he? He's got a brand, he's got a style of football, and it's successful, and it is successful if he brings home trophies, which he's doing, and hopefully will continue.
I mean,
to
I'm
do.
not saying Ange's going to leave should he win the treble.
No.
Brand Prostacoglu is going to leave if he wins a treble, but I just think it's on the horizon and you want him to have that absolute utter dominance.
Yeah, and why Rangers are relevant to this as well is because should you wish to do it, I mean, no doubt people will be motivated to do so. Should you wish to diminish Brendan Rodgers' trebles, you would say that Rangers were crap back then and they weren't capable of putting up a fight. Don't necessarily agree with that. You can only really play against what you're up
They
against.
claim all the things they won when we were crap. So.
But exactly.
This will be a much harder treble to do.
Well, that's it. So we've literally got Rangers in a final so far. So to overcome that on the way to the treble would be a big step that you can't take that away. You can't say, well, Rangers didn't compete. They got to the final and presumably tried to win it. Again, I don't like to talk as if we've already won the thing, but we're talking about the treble in context against, again, bizarre to say, we're comparing it to other very recent trebles.